The entire courtroom went dead silent the second the spit hit Judge Judy's glasses. Not a gasp, not a whisper, just pure shock. The bailiff froze mid-step. A court clerk dropped her pen. And standing at the defendant's table with a smirk, still hanging on her face, was 21-year-old Madison Keller, daughter of Police Chief Raymond Keller. She leaned back like she'd just won something. "You can't talk to me like that," Madison snapped. Judge Judy slowly removed her glasses. Everybody watching expected yelling. Instead, her voice got quieter, and somehow that made it worse. "Bailiff," she said calmly, "place her in custody." Madison laughed, actually laughed. "You're kidding." The bailiff wasn't moving jokingly. Metal cuffs came out instantly. That's when Madison's confidence cracked for the first time. "Wait, hold on. Are you serious?" Judge Judy looked directly at her. "You assaulted a sitting judge in my courtroom." The cameras zoomed closer as Madison's face lost color. But what happened 30 seconds later exposed something far uglier than simple disrespect. Because the spit wasn't the real story. The real story was why Madison thought she could get away with it. And by the end of the hearing, her own father would be staring at her like he didn't recognize her anymore. It had started as a property damage case. Small claims, nothing spectacular on paper. A plaintiff named Elena Ramirez stood nervously beside her attorney folder, both hands gripping the edge of the table so tightly, her knuckles were white. 38 years old, middle school music teacher. Single mother, no criminal history, no lawsuits, no drama, just exhausted. Across from her sat Madison in designer sunglasses, chewing gum inside the courtroom like she was bored at a nail salon. Expensive boots crossed at the ankle, diamond bracelet, perfect makeup. And beside her sat Raymond Keller himself, the police chief of Brookdale County, decorated officer, 27 years in law enforcement. Highly respected, at least publicly. Judge Judy glanced over the file. "Miss Ramirez, you're suing for $3,800. Explain." Elena swallowed hard. "My car was destroyed outside a restaurant 3 months ago." Judge Judy nodded. "And you claim the defendant caused the damage intentionally?" "Yes." Madison rolled her eyes dramatically. "Oh my God." Judge Judy turned instantly. "Take the gum out of your mouth." Madison stared at her. "No." The audience shifted uncomfortably. Raymond leaned toward his daughter immediately. "Maddie." "She's not my mother," Madison muttered. Judge Judy didn't blink. "You have 2 choices. Spit it out yourself, or the bailiff hands you a tissue." For a second it looked like Madison might actually comply. Instead, she slowly removed the gum and stuck it underneath the defendant's table. The audience groaned. Judge Judy looked at the bailiff. "Photograph that." Now even Raymond looked embarrassed. "Your Honor, she's upset." "No," Judge Judy interrupted. "She's undisciplined." Madison smirked again. That smirk would disappear very soon. Elena began explaining what happened. 3 months earlier, she'd gone to dinner with coworkers after school. When she returned to the parking lot, every window on her Honda Civic had been smashed. Spray paint covered the doors. One phrase written across the hood in giant red letters: "Homewrecker." Judge Judy looked up immediately. "A serious accusation." Elena nodded shakily. "I didn't even know who did it at first. But now you do." "Yes." "How?" Elena reached into her folder. "Because somebody recorded it." The courtroom shifted. Madison stopped chewing. Raymond's posture changed slightly. Judge Judy held out her hand. "Let me see." The video was shaky cell phone footage from the restaurant's second-floor patio. A woman in a white jacket could clearly be seen smashing headlights with what looked like a tire iron, then spray painting the hood. The clip zoomed closer. Madison. "No question," the audience murmured immediately. Judge Judy paused the video. "Miss Keller, that's you." Madison shrugged. "You can't even see my face." Judge Judy hit play again. The woman turned directly toward the camera for half a second. Crystal clear. "Madison." Judge Judy looked unimpressed. That defense lasted 6 seconds. A few people laughed quietly. Madison glared toward the audience. This is ridiculous. Judge Judy kept reading. Then her expression changed. Miss Ramirez, according to your filing, the defendant believed you were involved with her boyfriend. Elena's face flushed immediately. I wasn't. Judge Judy turned pages. But the boyfriend was your coworker. Yes, but we teach at the same school. That's it. Madison cut in loudly. She was sleeping with him. No, I wasn't. Elena shot back instantly. You sent him heart emojis. They were about his dog. The courtroom erupted into overlapping voices. Judge Judy slammed her pen down. Enough. Silence. She pointed at Madison. You vandalized somebody's property because of emojis? You don't understand. No, you don't understand. Judge Judy interrupted. Adults do not destroy cars because they're jealous. Madison crossed her arms. Maybe if women stopped chasing taken men. That's enough. Judge Judy snapped. Then she turned toward Raymond. And you brought her here today, expecting sympathy. Raymond looked deeply uncomfortable now. No, Your Honor. I'm here because she's my daughter. Judge Judy stared at him carefully. And how many times has being your daughter protected her? That landed hard. Even Madison looked sideways at her father. Raymond answered slowly. I don't protect criminal behavior. Judge Judy raised an eyebrow. Interesting. Then she lifted another page from the case file. Because according to this report, no arrest was made despite video evidence, eyewitness testimony, and over $4,000 in damage. The room got quieter. Judge Judy looked directly at Raymond. You were the responding supervisor. Elena looked stunned hearing that aloud. Raymond shifted in his chair. I arrived after the initial call, and I believed it was a personal dispute better handled civilly. Judge Judy leaned back slowly. So if somebody else smashed a teacher's vehicle with a tire iron, would you call it civil? No answer. That silence said everything. And for the first time, the audience started seeing this case differently. This wasn't about a spoiled girl anymore. This was about a system bending around her. Judge Judy turned back to Elena. How did this affect you financially? Elena inhaled carefully. I missed 2 weeks of work because I couldn't get transportation. You're a teacher? Yes. Children? A son. How old? 9. Judge Judy nodded. And you paid for repairs yourself? Elena looked down. I couldn't. Judge Judy paused. What do you mean? Another silence. Then Elena quietly said something that changed the entire emotional temperature of the room. They repossessed the car. Even Madison's expression flickered. Elena tried keeping composure, but her voice started shaking. I had savings for my son's asthma treatments, and I used all of it trying to fix the damage. Judge Judy softened slightly. And then, I fell behind. The courtroom was completely still now. Elena wiped her eyes quickly, embarrassed. We take the bus now. Madison scoffed under her breath. Oh, please. Judge Judy turned slowly. What did you say? She's acting like I ruined her life. Elena suddenly snapped. You did. Everybody jumped. It was the first time Elena's voice rose. You destroyed my car because your boyfriend lied to you, Madison shouted back immediately. He admitted you flirted with him because he wanted to make you jealous. And why would he do that? Because he enjoyed watching you lose your mind. Raymond looked stunned hearing that. Judge Judy narrowed her eyes. Interesting. Then she looked toward Elena. Did this boyfriend submit a statement? Yes. Judge Judy scanned the file again, then stopped. Well now, something in her tone changed. The audience leaned forward instinctively. Judge Judy read silently for nearly 10 seconds. Then looked up at Madison. You never mentioned he broke up with you the night before the vandalism. Madison froze slightly. That's irrelevant. Oh no, Judge Judy said quietly. That's very relevant. She lifted the statement. He says you threatened to ruin his life if he left. Madison's jaw tightened. He's lying. Judge Judy kept reading. He also says you previously keyed his truck. No answer. And threw a candle at his apartment wall. Still silence. Raymond slowly turned toward his daughter, Maddie. She refused to look at him. Judge Judy continued. He describes repeated violent outbursts, alcohol abuse, and threats of self-harm. Madison suddenly exploded. Manipulating everybody! The scream echoed through the courtroom. Judge Judy didn't react. Madison pointed violently toward Elena. She wanted him. Everybody knew it. No, Elena said quietly. I pitied him. That hit like a slap. Madison's face twisted instantly, and then came the moment nobody expected. Raymond spoke softly, almost to himself. She did it before, didn't she? Madison whipped toward him. What? The restaurant hostess last year. Raymond's face had gone pale. The college roommate. Judge Judy watched carefully now. Raymond looked devastated. You told me they were lying. Madison's breathing changed. Dad. You swore those stories weren't true. For the first time, Madison looked scared. Real fear, not arrogance, not anger. Fear. Judge Judy folded her hands. Chief Keller, are you realizing something today? Raymond stared ahead blankly, then nodded once, slowly, painfully. I think I've spent years cleaning up disasters I refuse to see. Madison looked horrified. You're seriously turning on me right now? No, he said quietly. I think reality finally caught up. The audience sat frozen, and that should been the emotional peak. But it wasn't even close, because moments later, the courtroom clerk handed Judge Judy another document that had just arrived electronically. Judge Judy scanned it, then looked directly at Raymond. Chief Keller, did your department recently settle a complaint involving missing body cam footage? Raymond blinked hard. What? Judge Judy turned the paper around. Internal Affairs report. Madison's face instantly drained of color. Raymond noticed immediately. What is this? Judge Judy read carefully. The officer who responded first to Miss Ramirez's vandalized vehicle uploaded partial footage. But 12 minutes were deleted before evidence processing. The room erupted into whispers. Judge Judy looked at Madison. You know anything about that? No. Too fast. Way too fast. Judge Judy looked at Raymond again. Who had access to that evidence? Raymond answered automatically. Supervisors. Records division. Then he stopped talking because suddenly he understood. Madison wouldn't meet his eyes. Oh my God, he whispered. Judge Judy leaned forward. Did your daughter contact officers on scene? Raymond looked sick now. Maddie. She said nothing. Maddie. Finally she snapped. I was scared. The courtroom exploded. Raymond stood halfway from his chair. You deleted evidence? I didn't delete it. Then who did? Madison started crying instantly. Real panic now. I called Officer Daniels and asked him to help me. Judge Judy's eyes narrowed sharply. And did he? Madison covered her face. Raymond looked like he'd been punched in the chest. Judge Judy's voice became ice cold. So now we're discussing obstruction. The bailiff straightened immediately. Madison panicked harder. No, I didn't mean. Judge Judy cut her off. You contacted law enforcement during an active investigation involving yourself? I just wanted one mistake erased. One mistake? Elena said in disbelief. You ruined my life. Madison screamed back through tears. I said I was sorry. You never apologized. I bought you flowers. You sent them anonymously. The emotional chaos was spiraling. Judge Judy finally slammed her hand against the desk. Enough. Silence crashed over the room. Madison was hyperventilating now. Raymond looked completely broken. Judge Judy stared directly at him. You understand the severity of this? Yes. And if evidence was intentionally altered? His voice cracked. Then somebody committed a crime. Judge Judy nodded once, then came the final disaster. Madison suddenly pointed at Elena again. She manipulated all of this. Judge Judy warned her. Careful. No, everybody acts like she's innocent. She flirted with my boyfriend for months and nobody cared how that made me feel. Elena looked exhausted now. I barely spoke to him. He stayed late with you. We supervised theater rehearsal together. You laughed at his jokes. Judge Judy closed her eyes briefly like she'd heard enough immaturity for one lifetime. Then Elena said something quietly, something devastating. Do you know what he told me about you? Madison froze. Alina hesitated. Judge Judy nodded gently. Go ahead. Alina looked directly at Madison. He said he was afraid of you. The words hit harder than yelling ever could. Madison's face collapsed instantly, and then came the deepest reveal yet. Elena's voice softened. He said every time he tried leaving, you threatened to hurt yourself. Madison looked shattered now. Raymond slowly sat down like his legs stopped working. Elena continued carefully. He said you smashed his apartment window last winter. Madison whispered. Stop! And he stayed because he thought you needed help. Stop. But you didn't want help, Elena said. You wanted control. Madison burst into tears, not dramatic crying, ugly crying. The kind people do when they realize the story they told themselves is finally falling apart in public. Judge Judy watched silently. Then Madison looked at her father and asked the one question that changed the room completely. Do you hate me? Raymond's eyes filled instantly. No, Madison sobbed harder. Then why are you looking at me like that? He struggled to answer. Finally, he whispered. Because I should have stopped this years ago. Nobody moved. Nobody even coughed. Then Madison did the worst thing possible. Instead of sitting quietly, instead of accepting responsibility, she looked at Judge Judy with pure rage and spat directly at her. That's where everything snapped. Judge Judy removed her glasses slowly. Bailiff, place her in custody. Madison stood instantly. You can't arrest me over spit. Judge Judy's expression didn't change. Watch me. The bailiff grabbed her wrists. Madison jerked backward violently. Dad! Raymond didn't move. Dad. His eyes closed briefly, then he said something nobody expected. Cooperate. Her face broke completely. You're choosing them over me? No, he said quietly. I'm choosing the law. The cuffs locked, and for the first time in her life, Madison looked like someone who realized her last name couldn't save her. But the final twist came seconds later. As the bailiff escorted her toward the side exit, Judge Judy called out, One more thing. Madison stopped crying long enough to glare back. Judge Judy held up the internal affairs report. I'm forwarding this hearing transcript to the district attorney. Raymond inhaled sharply. Judge Judy continued. If evidence was tampered with to protect your daughter, criminal charges may extend beyond vandalism. The courtroom went dead silent again, because everybody understood what that meant. Not just for Madison. For the entire police department, Raymond looked physically ill. Madison panicked. No, Dad, tell her. But Raymond couldn't even look at her anymore. Judge Judy stared at both of them. One person breaking the law is tragic. Then she pointed toward Raymond. But people in power protecting it? That destroys public trust. Raymond nodded slowly, tears finally slipping down his face. You're right. And somehow that moment hurt more than the arrest, because Madison realized the one thing she never expected. Her father was done shielding her. Judge Judy finalized the ruling calmly. $3,800 in damages, additional court penalties, recommendation for criminal review, and immediate contempt charges for assaulting the court. Then she looked at Alina. Alina stood nervously. You deserved better from the system. Alina's eyes filled immediately. Judge Judy nodded respectfully. I hope this helps restore some faith in it. Alina broke down crying quietly, not because of the money, because somebody finally believed her. The bailiff began escorting Madison away again. But before disappearing through the side door, she turned back one last time, looking directly at Elena, not angry anymore, just empty, and softly, almost inaudibly, she said, I really thought he loved you. Elena stared at her for a long second, then answered with heartbreaking honesty. No, Madison blinked. Elena wiped her tears. I think he was just trying to survive you. That was the final blow. Madison looked away instantly as the door closed behind her. The courtroom sat in stunned silence. Raymond remained seated alone at the defense table, long after everyone else started leaving. A police chief, decorated, respected, diced. Judge Judy gathered her papers quietly, then paused before exiting, and delivered one final line nobody in that courtroom would ever forget. Privilege doesn't ruin people. She looked toward the closed holding room door. It reveals them.